Operation X, during which the Super Falcons did Nigeria proud. Now, some Nigerian or one Nigerian wants to do Nigerian proud by taking Egusi to space. So this is Mission Egusi, amongst other, gains by the side. So let's talk more about this. And somebody who should know joins us on the program today. He is Dr. Temidayo Oniosun. He's the founder and managing director, Space in Africa. He joins us virtually from Lagos. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Oniosun.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So we've been hearing about this, and it gets us excited. And we know that the mission was supposed to take off yesterday, but we don't know additional details. Perhaps you want to talk to us about that and provide more insight about this Mission Egusi. What's informing it, and what are the gains, the low-hanging fruits for Nigeria from this mission?
Thank you very much. We've been talking about space technology and space exploration for several years now. And there's also a lot of conversation about humans becoming an interplanetary species. This conversation about people living in space, living on the moon, on the Mars, and all of them. But what is missing in all of this conversation is the role that Africans will play. Because when we have this conversation, oftentimes we don't look at the African context. And so this experiment is to, study the way African food actually behave in microgravity. And the whole essence of this is so that, in the future, we can actually eat African food, in outer space. So the mission was supposed to be launched yesterday, but due to the weather, it was postponed till today. So today, I'm right here in Cape Canaveral, in Florida, just outside of Kennedy Space Center, which is NASA's headquarters, where the rocket is going to be launched. So today, at around 4:45 p.m. Nigerian time, that is when the SpaceX Falcon 9 rockets that will be carrying the Egusi seed, that is when it will be launched into space.
Now, beyond the research, which is critical, by the way, on how Egusi would behave in mid-air gravity in space, we also know that humans have been occupying space since 2000, following the launch of the International Space Station. Potentially, what do you project would be the demand or the selling, the marketability of Nigerian cuisine in space following this particular mission?
Absolutely, and this is also one of the reasons for this. Is that the cultural significance of this is even more important than the scientific research, because Egusi, for example, holds a significant cultural impact in Nigeria. Several regions can lay claim to its origin. And it's also more than a symbolic gesture. It represents a bold step towards, preparing humanity for life as an interplanetary species. And so, yes, we expect that this is going to start a conversation about, Africans getting more involved in space exploration. But beyond that, we want to start talking about African cuisine in space. One of the most important space missions that is going to happen in this decade is the Artemis mission, where NASA, for example, they're sending astronauts back to the moon, and this is a bold step towards even more bigger mission. We're talking of people actually living and working in space, and in all of this conversation, we want to be talking about the role that Africans will play, not just from the scientific point of view, but from the cultural perspective. So whether it's in terms of, okay, what food are we going to eat in space? If over the next couple of decades, some Africans find themselves living and working in space. I mean, we saw, the Nigerian, that went to space, a few weeks ago. So these things are happening, and, they will happen in the future. And we just want to plug in Nigeria into all of this conversation. all of this conversation, but we also want to, begin to talk about, how we can, maintain the same quality of life that we have here on Earth, even in outer space. So, whether it is in terms of eating your favorite dish, even when you're out of this planet, these are some of the conversations we want to be having.
So it's quite profound, and right now a lot of people may not see the big picture or what is being done culturally and scientifically, but I'm sure you really do understand that this is going to be a big deal in the future, given the how everyone is trying to advance their own. We are now trying to use food in form of our culture now to drive this. But I wanted to find out, in terms of buying from those who are non-Africans or non-Nigerians, how are they buying into all of this? What is their level of curiosity? What exactly is the conversation? Because there's a part of us that is talking about this in case we find ourselves there. We have something we can associate with, we're used to. But there's the other part of properly exporting it, where somebody who wasn't born, what doesn't understand it, can now adopt it as their own, delicacy in that sense.
Yeah, I think the global community is also, they're very curious about some of these things. There's been a lot of experiments, on, a lot of Western food in space, but this is the first time that we'll have something, especially from West Africa, going into space, and even sometimes beyond the actual research, this also play into agricultural diplomacy, and as you can see on social media and everywhere, this is like the first time people are really curious about space in Nigeria. I mean, Nigeria has launched satellites and all of that in the past, but people could not connect with this. But, when people hear that we're sending food, especially Egusi, something that they probably eat almost every day, when people hear that, they could connect to this, and they can see that space is not out of reach for them. If Egusi can go to space, so can they.
I like that. There are three kinds of reactions you get to this, well, on a very average day. One, excitement. A lot of people love anything space. I mean, I think I'm one of them. There are those who do not care at all. That's a second group. But there's a third group that is like, what on earth, pun intended, are you looking for in space? Because we still have a lot of things here. So what are you looking for up there? Do you want to see God? So how do you respond to people who are skeptics, people who also have all the theories, and I'm sure you've heard all of those conspiracy theories, right? What do you say to them?
I think people often underestimate the impact of space, even on their daily lives. I think people are unable to connect to this. I mean, people use GPS services on their phone. They use Google Maps. They use Uber. They use the internet. They use Starlink. But, they cannot connect to the fact that all of these important technologies are actually made possible as a result of, space technology and space exploration. And beyond this, a lot of, advancements in science, a lot of, even innovations in hardware technologies are actually made possible, as a result of space technology or even space research. And this is also one of the reasons why, we're doing this. We want to experiment on agricultural seeds from Nigeria to see not just how they behave in space, but also if if there is any impact on their health, measuring how much they actually breathe, and even studying their genes to understand any changes caused by space. And when we talk about food security, these sort of experiments are very important, because it's not just about space. It's about what can we learn from all of these experiments, or what can we learn from all of these experiences that would actually impact the way, we grow food here on Earth. And beyond the experiments, I'll also be collaborating with, researchers from the University of Florida, as well as researchers from IITA in Ibadan, to carry out some studies on this site.
The question, and it's great to hear all of the cool stuff that you're doing. You're like a cool kid, right? But let me rephrase it. Do you want to go and feed aliens with this Egusi? What's going on right there? Do you get people who ask you about aliens? When are they invading and stuff? Don't worry, my mind is just running riot. But I'm sure a lot of people are watching and say, yes, Coyote, that's a question on my mind.
I mean, yeah, that's a possibility. You know, some people have also been asking, you know, what would happen to the seed? But, you know, we don't know. Maybe we'll bring the seeds back and then, you know, we'll plant it and it will germinate something else. We don't know. And that's why we're doing all of these experiments. So I think it's very exciting. You know, it's personally, I'm looking forward to all of the things that we'll learn from this experience.
And maybe the humans living in space could develop an appetite for Egusi. But just very quickly, Dr. Temidayo, why Egusi? Why not ogbono or fisherman ingredients for fisherman soup? Why Egusi?
That's a good question. I think personally, and you know, this is a personal experience or personal story. I think that Egusi is the most cultural dish in Nigeria. You know, everybody eats Egusi. The Yorubas lay claim to Egusi that it originates from them. Even the Igbos also, they do the same. They say, oh, you know, Egusi is from Igbo land. So a lot of people lay claim to its origin. And I don't think there is a better dish that says, see, I'm Nigerian than Egusi. Even people in the diaspora can connect to this. And it has also traveled way beyond Nigeria. If you go across West Africa, you know, people are eating Egusi. So I think that, you know, for me, this is a dish that, you know, that speaks more Nigerian than anything else. But more importantly, this is the first stage of these experiments. We're going to send more stuff to space in the future. And so for people that are, you know, curious about, you know, other soup, other dishes, or other seeds, we're going to send more stuff to space in the future. And so maybe when we're ready to do that, we'll do a public poll and ask people to vote what next we should send.
All right, fantastic, exciting, and there's more to talk about, but we must anchor at this point. And you have our best wishes with Mission Egusi to Space. We've been talking with Dr. Temidayo Oniosun, founder and managing director, Space in Africa, who joined us virtually from Lagos. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
And from here, we'll go to another exciting conversation for the weekend. Afrocentric fitness is what we're talking about next. So you don't want to miss this one. We'll be right back.